Yashala to Israel. Imagine, which means to stand. Panyakudam, which means to rise, turn and face the east. The Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemaya, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakuka, Tabaa, Ratazaka, Hayah, Shah, Baratazak, Kawa, Hayah, Bashemaya, the Thunder Nawa, Lacham, Kal, Yawam, Wasalaka Nawa, Kabawat Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawathi Nawa, Wala'a, Tabayat Nawa, Banasay One, Ball, Awashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'alu, Hakaparak, Abalamim, Aman. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever, so be it. Prayer for the power. Akak, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua. Babukusha, the thunder now. Akak, La Ba'a, Kal Makala, Kal Marawa, Akak, La Tahar, Hamatazariah, Akak, excuse me, La Hakwil, Hamathim, Akak. Our Kawa, Tamala, the Garashan, Shim Yahushai, for water Amun. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power to heal all men of sickness, all men of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out in the name of Yahushai. Thank you, so be it. The prayer to bless Israel. Yahweh, by Shim Yahushai, Rakanawa, Wayashala, Wahab, Bayasapar, Barak, Pam, Magun, by Shim Yahushai, for water Amun. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, bless us and Israel and the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones in the name of Yahushua. Thank you, so be it. Psalms 121. Asha, Yanya, Alahari, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ai, Zaria, Ma'an, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa'arataza, Ayathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hanala, Yanawam, Wala Aya, Yashan, Shabamar, Yashta Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al Ya, Yanyanka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakaka, Wayarach. Yahweh, Yashmar, Makalra, Yashmar, Atmapashka, Yahweh, Yashmar, Tazafka, Waboaka, Ma'aifam, I will lift my eyes to the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help coming from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and coming in from this time forth and even forevermore, so be it. Psalms 83. Alahayim, Al the Mayalaka, Al the Harash, Al the Shaqat, Al, Kayana, Awayabi, Kayami1, Wamashanaka, Nashawa, Ra'ash, Alaimaka, Yarayam, Salakim, Yarayam, Sawa, where Fayat Wa, Al Tazapoinika, Marwa, Lakawa, Wanakaki, the Magoya, Wala Ah, Yazakar, Sham Yashala, Iwa, Kaya, Nawa Aitadwa, La, Yakad, Salaki, Yakadwa, Salaki. Salaki, sneeze, it ain't coming out. Salaki. Yachad, Alyaka, Baryath, Yakarafwa, Aholia, Adawam, Weshma Ali, Mawa'aba, Wahagari, Gabal, Wa'aimawan, Wa'aimalak, Palashaf, Aimishak, Tazawar, Gam Ashawar, Nalawa, Imam, Hayo, Zarawai, Labanyalawat, Salah, Aisha, Laham, Kamadin, Kasayasara, Kayabin, Banakal, Koyashwan, Nashimagwa, Bayanda, Rahayo, Daman, La Adama, Shea Thamwa, Dadayamwa, Kaira, Wakazaba, Wakazabach, Wakazalmana, calling to say Kamwa, Ashar, Amawad, Bayrashal, Nawa, Af, Nawaf, Alahaya, Alahaya, Shea Thamwa, Kagawa, Kakwash, Lapanya Raka, Kaash, the Ba'ari Ira, Wakalahab, Falahat, Haryam, Khan, Tavadak, Basa Ira, Wabasawapaka, Dalahalam, Mala'a, Panyahan, Kwalawan, Waya Bakwashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Waya Bahalwa. I where Kapar, where Bagwa, where the Iwa, Kaya, Thought, Shimka, Yahawa, Labadka, Al, Yawan, Al, Call, Aratiza, Aman. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asa also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kisan, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zeb, yea, all their princes, as Zabah, and as the Munah, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. So be it. This is the prayer of the blessings of the power structure. The Rockefeller Yahweh, White House, Wa Alahaya, Matazabia, Alawap Yahanna, Ha Alawap, Ha Saranya, Ha Patazianya, Ha Kayayoya, Wa Wakin, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Wadaman. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahushai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General Yahanna, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, thank you, so be it. Sar, which means to turn. All right, Shabi, which means to be seated. All right, uh-oh. What's going on here? Oh, something's being pressed. Okay, so like, I was wondering why this thing was going crazy. I hope everybody can still hear and see me. Okay, so lucky about that. All right, this was getting jammed up on me. All right, here we go. We're in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18 and verse 7. Just bear with me. Hold on. All right, that's a lot better. All right. All right, Most High Christ. Go ahead, clap it up. Brothers and sisters, shalom. All right, if you're a young brother or a young sister and you're earning your Hebrew name, this is the sign-in form. As a matter of fact, if you're watching on Facebook, I have it for you on Facebook as well. Let me give it to you. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second, all right? Give me 1 second. There we go. So if you're watching from Facebook, you can also sign in from Facebook as well, all right? So make sure you're logging in, you're signing in to that Google document form if you want the benefits of being a member of the Israelite School of UPK under commanding General Yahanna. All right. With that being said, let's go into today's scriptures for the Sabbath service. All right. Also, don't forget that the upcoming events coming up we have for the High Holy Day department is the Feast of the Memorial Blowing of Trumpets that will take place on September 11th, 7 p.m. sundown, all time zones. Everyone understands September 11th will be the opening of the Feast of the Memorial of Blowing of Trumpets. All right. All right, let's get into it. All right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 7. Shalom to the trooper Kanayak. Shalom, mighty man. Shalom, shalom, shalom to the brothers and sisters checking in. All right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 7. All right. Washarath, Basham, Yahweh, Alahayawa, Kakal, Akyua, Haloyam, Hai Madyam, Sham, Lapunya, Yahweh. Verse 8. Kalak, Kalak, Ya'akwa, excuse me. Labad, Mama Karyum, Al, Abawath, verse 9. Kaya, Atha, Ba'a, Al, Ha'aratazah, Ashar, Yahweh, Alahayak, Nathan, Lad, Salaki, Lak, La'at, Thalamad, La'ishawath, Kathawaibath, Hagarium, Haham, verse 10. La'a, Salaki, La'a, Yamatazah, Bak, Ma'abyar, Banawa, Wabathwa, Ba'ash, Quasam, Quasamaya, Quasamyam, all right, Quasamyam, Ma'aiwanyam, Salakia, Ma'aiwanan, all right, Ma'aiwanan, Wama Nakash, Wama Kashat, verse 11, Wakabar, Kabar, Washa'al, Awab, Wayadunya, Wadarash, all, Hamathium, verse 12, Kayah, Thoibath, Yahweh, call, Aisha, all, Allah, Wabagalal, Hathawaibath, Ha'Allah, Yahweh, Allahayad, Salaki, Allahayak, Mawariash, Awatham, Mapunyak, verse 13, Thumyum, Thahayah, I'm Yahweh, Allahayak. All right. Shalom, sis. Yahweh Shemar Alathun by Shem Yahweh. Shout to all the sisters. Shalom, sis. Most High in Christ, sis. All right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 7. Then he shall minister in the name of the Most High his power, as all his brethren the Levites do, which stand there before the Most High. They shall have like portions to eat, beside that which cometh of the sale of his patrimony. When thou art come into the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Most High. And because of these abominations, the Most High thy power doth drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with the Most High thy power. There's also, I'll tell you, another precept to what we just read was Matthew chapter 5, verse 28. In the so-called New Testament, where our King Christ, Yahweh Shah, spoke about being therefore perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. You have no excuse to not obey the laws of God. Does everyone understand that concept? It's such a simple concept to understand. You don't have the right to disobey God. You don't have the free will to disobey God. When you disobey God, punishments occur. And if you don't teach your children how not to celebrate the holidays of our oppressor, how not to be like our oppressor, how not to be like the heathens, the Africans, the Asians, how not to be a Christian, how not to be Muslim, then you will pay for it. Does everyone understand that concept? You don't have the right to not follow God. Your free will is to follow the Most High. Does everyone understand? You don't have free will to not follow God. When you don't obey the Most High, when you don't teach your children to serve God, the God of the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the Israelites, you will suffer because of it. Does everyone understand? All right. Excuse me. This is Deuteronomy chapter 18. This is Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 14. All right. Kayah, Hagoyim, Ha'Allah, Ashar, Athah, Yarawash, Awatham, all, Ma'inanyam, Wa'al, Kwasamyam, Yashemayawa, Wa'athah, La'ah, Khan, Nathan, Lak, Yahweh, Allahayak, verse 15. Nabaya'ah, Makarabak, Ma'achyak, Kamanya, Yakoyam, Lak, Yahweh, Allahayak, Allah Salakia, Al Yawa, Thashemayawan, verse 16. Excuse me. Kakal, Ashar, Shalath, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Allahayak, Bakarab, Bayawam, Hakwahal, La'amar, La'ah, Asap, Lashemai, Ath, Kawal, Yahweh, Allahayak, Wa'ath, Ha'ash, Hagadalah, Haza'ath, La'ah, Ara'ah, Iwad, Wala'ah, Amawath, verse 17. Wayamar, Yahweh, Al-Yah, Hayat Salaki, Yati Yabwa, Hayat Yabwa, Ashar, Debarwa, verse 18. Nabayah, Akwayam, Laham, Makarab, Achayaham, Kamawak, Wanathafia, Debaria, Bapapua, Wadabar, Salaki Al-Hayam, Ath, Call, Ashar, Atazawanwa, verse 19. Waya, excuse me, Waya, Hayash, Ashar, La'ah, Yashamai, All, Debaria, Ashar, Yadabar, Bashemya, Anakia, Adarash, Ma'imwa, verse 20. Hanabia, Hanabia, Ashar, Yazayad, Ladabar, Debar, Bashemya, Ath, Ashar, La'ah, Tazawayathua, Ladabar, Wa Ashar, Yadabar, Basham, Alahayam, Acharyam, Wamath, Hanabia, Hahawa'ah, right? All right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 14. For these nations, excuse me, let me get a sip of water. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 18. Shalom, mighty man, to the young man checking in. All right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 13. I'm sorry, verse 14. For these nations which thou shalt possess, hearken unto observers of times and unto diviners. But as for thee, the Most High, excuse me, but as for thee, the Most High, thy power hath not suffered thee to do so, have not suffered thee so to do. The Most High, thy power, will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken. What is the Most High telling Moses to tell the children of Israel? The Most High God, our power, will raise up a brother that follows God, not follows Barack Obama, not as a Democrat, not as a Republican. He's not a heathen, meaning he's not outside of your race. You Black Christians have a fealty to other nations. That's hurting your people. God is going to raise up a man within your race, not some white man to save you, not some Asian, Arab, or African to be your Lord. He's going to raise up a brother. Let that blow your mind. You don't think Black people could do anything but sing, dance, and impress and entertain other races of people. Well, the Most High God has better plans for Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians other than being a musician, other than dribbling a basketball, other than throwing a football. God is going to raise up a leader amongst us, and he's going to be from among our people, not a heathen. Does everyone understand? This is verse 16. According to all that thou desiredest of the Most High thy power in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of the Most High my power, neither let me see this great fire anymore, that I die not. And the Most High said unto me, they have well spoken that which they have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. How do you know someone is not sent from the Most High God to be our leader? They disobey what God says in the Bible. Anybody that tells you God's law is done away with, which are all Christians, they can never be our leader, because they teach what is not in the Bible. Nowhere in the Bible does it say disobey the laws of God. Nowhere in the Bible, whether the Old or the New Testament, does it say Christ came to end the law. If they are teaching that, they are against God. If they are teaching you to vote for Donald Trump or Barack Obama or Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, they are against God. God never told a man to go out and vote. If they're teaching that a person can be born gay, they're not for God. Do you understand? They're teaching the opposite of what's in the Bible. If they celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving, if they wear tassels at the end of their shirts, They can never teach you that they're coming in the name of Jesus or the name of God, because Jesus never wore tassels at the end of a t-shirt, and it's not in the Bible to do so. It's important for you to learn who are people of God, who are the men of God, and who is not. What's easier for you to understand is who is not a man of God, because it's easier to look in the Bible, read what God said, and then see this brother not do what God says. If he's buying prostitutes, going to strip clubs, he's not a man of God. If he has a woman outside of his race, he can never be your leader, because God said that God is going to speak through his mouth. What is God going to teach you? To have white women? That's not in the Bible. The Bible says that God is not going to go against his word. So there is never going to be a man that is sent from God that tells you the opposite of what the Bible says. I don't care how well they can speak like Dr. King. I don't care how moving they could act like Malcolm X. They don't teach you what God says. They're not a man of God. That's simple enough to understand. Let's keep going. Verse 19. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Jesse Jackson are dead because they spoke a word against God, saying they were from God, that they were teaching God's people something that God never taught his people. That's why they're all dead. That's why all of those black Muslims get assassinated. Khalid Muhammad, Malcolm X. That's why Dr. King was killed by the person he taught us to love, when God never taught us to love white people. God never told us to be integrated. God never told us to accept the abuse of white people. That's nowhere in the Bible. God have always empowered mankind to have the ability to defend themselves. He's empowered nature to defend itself. That's why roses have thorns. There is nothing that cannot defend itself. So when Dr. King says we have to be nonviolent, nonviolence is not biblical. That's not biblical to be nonviolent. What's biblical is to defend yourself, which sometimes takes violence. So Dr. King was not a man of God. Voting is not from a man of God. What prophet ever told you to go vote for the president of Rome, the president of Assyria, the king of Babylon? What prophet of God would tell you something like that in the Bible? Well, it's the same today. It's the same today. There should be no prophet of God teaching the people of God, blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, to go vote for the oppressor of Rome. What sense does that make? A prophet of God's job is to warn the people and to teach the people how to be different than the people that are around us. And that's what we do in the UPK, because we're real men of God. Everyone understand? Let's keep going. We're in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 21. All right. Wakaya, Thamar, Balababak, Ayaka, Nadai, Hadabar, Ashar, La'ah, Debarwa, Yahweh, verse 22. Ashar, Yadabar. When you hear Debar, that's to speak. Does everyone understand? Debar is to speak. Like Captain Debar Amath is to speak the truth. All right. Yadabar, and speak. All right. Hanabaya, Basham, Yahweh, Wala'ah, Yahaya, Hadabar, Wala'ah, Salaki Yabawa'ah, Kawa'ah, Hadabar, Ashar, La'ah, Debarwa, Yahweh, Bazadwa, Salaki Bazadwan, Debarwa, Hanabya, La'ah, Dagaror, Mama Noah, verse 23. I'm sorry, this is Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 1. Kaya, Yakoriyaf, Yahweh, Al-Hayak, Af, Hagawayam, Ashar, Yahweh, Al-Hayak, Nathan, La, Af, Aratazam, Wayarash, Salakia, Salakia, Wayar Rashatham, Wayar Shabath, Ba'ira Yahum, Wababath Yahum, Wababath Yahum. There we go. Wababath Yahum. This is Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 2. Shalawash, Ayam, Thabadyal. So I get Thabadyala, Lak, Bathawak, Aratazak, Aratazak, Ashar, Yahweh, Alahayak, Nathan Lak, Larashath, verse 3. Thakayan, Lak, Harak, Washalashath, Ath, Gabawal, Aratazak, Ashar, Yenachayalad, Salakia, Yenachayalak, Yahweh, Alahayak, Waya, Lanawas, Shema, Call, Tazak, verse 4. Wazah, the bar, Haratazak, Ashar, Yanawas, Shema, Wachaya, Ashar, Yakah, Ath, Rahewa, Babalaya, Babalya, Da'ith, Wahawa'a, La'ah, Shana'ah, Lawa, Mathamala, Salakia, Mathamal, Shalasham, verse 5. Wa'ashar, Yaba'ah, Ath, Ra'ihawa, Baya'ir, Lakata, Aitazayam, one of the Kha, Yadawa, Bagarazan, Bagarzan, Lakarath, Ha'aitaza, Wanashal, Habarzal, iron, all right? Barzal, that's iron. Man, Ha'aitaza, Wamataza, Ath, Ra'ahawa, Wamath, Hawa'a, Yanawat, all, Achath, Ha'aryam, Ha'aryam, Ha'alah, Wachaya. Someone asked, can you be a man of God without reading the Bible? No, you cannot be. All right. Can you be a man of God just by believing and giving your life to Christ? No, you cannot be. Anybody could, in theory, give their life to Christ. Christians have that dogma and that belief of giving your life to Christ, which means nothing. All right. You giving your life to Christ means dying for Jesus Christ. Does everyone understand? Plenty of good white people out there, brother. Sure there are. His name was John Brown. John Brown was absolutely a good white man. He killed white people. That made him good. All right. Call no man good. So how much less them? Okay, I'm not understanding your question, Sister Imadia. Call no man good. So how much less them? I'm not understanding that question. All right. So you have to clarify that question. All right. All right, here we go. This is Deuteronomy. Where did I start? 21. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 21. And if thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Most High have not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Most High, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Most High have not spoken. But the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. That's something you never want to do. You never want to give your opinion, which is what a lot of brothers, even after they become officers, you young officers have a tendency to do that in the school. You may say something that you feel your opinion. Your opinion is not fact and it doesn't come from God. Here's what you never want to do. You never want to speak presumptuously, meaning if you don't know something, don't assume. Christians do it all the time. Jesus told me to tell you, you got a car coming. No, you don't. Jesus and God is not telling you anything. First and foremost, you're a sinner, which means God is not talking to you. God doesn't speak to sinners and he doesn't listen to sinners. That's in the Bible. First and foremost, you should understand that. Then you should know if you are in the truth and you're an officer in here, you're a prophet of God. You took your test. You should never say what you feel or your opinion. Always say what's in the Bible. Always give someone the advice that's in the Bible or that you've heard from the men above you. That's the way you stop speaking presumptuously, is by giving them an answer that comes from the Bible. You never want to say something you weren't taught. If you weren't taught it, don't say it. That clears the air. That way you never are a prophet that people won't be afraid of. That's the Christians. Christians have said things for years. When COVID-19 happened, it shut the church down. I remember that. I was in the truth. I remember when COVID-19 happened and the Christian churches were empty. Not in the UPK, though. We were full to the brim, standing room only. In the church during COVID-19, I remember being in the truth in Virginia during COVID-19, and it scared Christians. It scared the piss out of Christians. Do you understand? And I just remember having a Sabbath service. I remember having Tuesday night, me and Captain Yahanna, me, Captain Natazak Shah in Virginia, me, Officer Tazi Hyde. We steady rolling to camp in Baltimore, going to camp in DC, going to camp in VA, down in Norfolk, right off of Monticello. I remember going to camp during COVID-19 in Virginia. I remember that. I remember seeing Christians and I remember seeing Christians die when no one in the school died. I remember seeing the church empty. And I remember seeing the pastors transition from having church inside of a building to having church on camera. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I remember seeing us put signs up in our schools that said, protected by God. Ask brothers or sisters who's been in a school long enough to tell you that this school doesn't shut down for anything or anyone because we are protected by the Most High. Does everyone understand? Natural disasters, COVID, doesn't matter what it is, because we are real men of God. We don't speak presumptuously. We warned you about COVID. Commander Yahanna since 1969, this school have warned you about pestilence and violence and World War III and Saudi Arabia getting bombed and the Middle East being bombed and no one ever going to have peace there since the 60s. We've told you this. You know why? Because we are men of God who read from the Bible and we don't tell you what our opinion is. We don't tell you what we feel. We tell you what the Bible says because that is what God says. Everyone understand. This is Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 1. When the Most High thy power hath cut off the nations, whose land the Most High thy power giveth thee, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their cities and in their houses, thou shalt separate 3 cities for thee in the midst of thy land, which the Most High thy power giveth thee to possess it. Thou shalt prepare thee a way, and divide the coast of thy land, which the Most High thy power giveth thee to inherit, into 3 parts, that every slayer may flee thither. And this is the case of the slayer, which shall flee thither, that he may live. Whoso killeth his neighbor ignorantly, whom he hated not in times past, as when a man goeth into the wood with his neighbor to hew wood, and his hand fetcheth a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slippeth from the helve and lighteth upon his neighbor, that he die, he shall flee unto one of those cities and live. What is this describing? This is describing the city of refuge. That was a law in the Bible God told Moses to tell the Israelites to create. There was a land that a brother or a sister could go dwell into if you accidentally murdered your brother. Murder, of course, is a sin in the Bible, and you are going to be stoned to death if you murder a brother in here or a sister in the Bible, because that is our law. Murder is not acceptable, unlike in America. In America, if you have a cop's badge, you have the immunity to murder whoever you would like. And most of the time it's blacks and Latinos or that ex-wife of yours, right? But in the Bible, in our culture, in our nation, you aren't allowed to murder anyone. You have to go to council or court if you have an offense against a brother or a sister. But the Lord made a city of refuge to protect you from manslaughter. Now, as time went on, what ended up happening? Brothers killed other brothers, like black on black crime, quote unquote, and they would just go to the city of refuge because they knew they were protected there. That's why when Christ came along, what did he say? Ye have heard it said in times past, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you that ye resist not evil. Why? Because brothers was just taking matters in their own hands. You didn't resist evil by doing that. That doesn't gain your brother by you just hurting him because he hurt you. Christ taught us to love our brothers and love our sisters and love our people. You can't do that if you have alt against him that doesn't get handled. And you can't handle an alt against your brother or sister. It must go before the men of God in the council. And that we provide for our people here in the Israelite School of UPK and the Commanding General Yahanna. So just remember, this is the opening phase of the city of refuge, which help brothers, but it also brothers use as a crutch, because they would murder a brother because he looked at him wrong or because he stole his cattle, and he just took matters in his own hands and he just went to the city of refuge. That didn't resist evil. You don't gain your brothers. You don't learn to love your people by just hurting them because they hurt you. Retribution doesn't gain you a brother or a sister. It just hurts somebody because you're hurt. That cannot go on in this nation. We have to forgive. We have to do what? Turn the other cheek. Now you see where that comes from. That doesn't come from you loving white people when white people push you down or lynch your husband or lynch your son or murder your son like Nolan Wales. That doesn't mean you love the other nations by turning the other cheek. It has nothing to do with no other race of people. Loving your brother is what turning the other cheek has to do with. You're giving them an opportunity to not hit you again, to not hurt you again. You don't do that by hurting them. You do that by taking them to counsel. That's how you gain your brother. That's how you resist evil. Everyone understand? This is Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 6. All right. Pan, Yeradah, Gaal, Hadam, Akarya, Haratazak, Kaya, Yacham, Lababawa, Wahashik, Salakia, Shayagawa, Shayagawa, Kaya, Yerabah, Hadarak, excuse me, Waka Hakahawa, Wakahawa, Napash, Walaya, Salakia, Walawa, Ayan, Mashapat, Mawaf, Kaya, La'a, Shana'a, Hawa'a, Lawa, Mathamawal, Shalashwam. All right, verse 7. Al, Khan, Anakia, Matazawak, La'amar, Shalash, Aryam, Thabadyal, Lak, verse 8. Wa'am, Yerachya, Yerachya, Yahweh, Alahayak, Ath, Gabalak, Ka'ashar, Neshabai, La'abathyak, Wanathan, Lak, Ath, Call, Ratazah, Ashar, Debar, Lathath, La'abathyak, verse 9. Kaya, Dashamar, Ath, Call, Hamatazawa, Hazaath, La'ishatha, Ashar, Anakia, Matazawak, Hayawam, La'ahabah, Ath, Yahweh, Alahayak, Walalakath, Badarakiwa, Call, Hayamyam, Wayasapath, Lak, Iwad, Shalash, Aryam, Al, Hashalash, Ha'ala, verse 10. Wala'ah, Yashapak, Dam, Nakwaya, Bakara, Aratazak, Ashar, Yahweh, Alahayak, Nathan, Lak, Nachala, Wahaya, Alayak, Damayam, verse 11. Wakaya, Yahaya, Ayash, Shana, Lara Iha, Salaki, Lara Ihawa, Wa'ara, Lawa, Waquam, Aliyam, Salaki, Aliwa, Wahakahawa, Wahakahawa, Wapash, Wamath, Wanas, Al, Achath, Hariam, Ha'al, verse 12. Washalakwa, Zaquanya, Ayarwa, all right, Ayarwa, Walakwakawa, Athawa, Masham, Wanathnawa, Athawa, Bayad, Gaal, Hazam, Salakia Hadam, Wamath. All right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 6. Right? Lest the avenger of the blood pursue the slayer while his heart is hot and overtake him, because the way is long, and slay him. Whereas he was not worthy of death, inasmuch as he hated him not in time past. Now you see what Christ was talking about when he said, turn the other cheek. Brothers would just take matters in their own hands. And the city of refuge was not for that. It was for accidental death. As you awaited trial, you won't be hurt by the family looking to pursue you. So you went and fled and stayed in the land of, in the city of refuge for a time. Everyone understand? Wherefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt separate 3 cities for thee. And if the Most High thy power enlarge thy coast, as he hath sworn unto thy fathers, and give thee all the land which he promised to give unto thy fathers, if thou shalt keep all these commandments to do them, which I command thee this day, to love the Most High thy power, and to walk ever in his ways, then shalt thou add 3 cities more for thee, beside these 3. That innocent blood be not shed in thy land, which the Most High thy power giveth thee for an inheritance, and so blood be upon thee. Verse 11. But if any man hate his neighbor, and lie in wait for him, and rise up against him, and smite him mortally that he die, and fleeth into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him thence, and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. Justice will always happen in the land of Israelite. And brothers began to take matters in their own hands. But guess what? If you didn't accidentally murder this brother, he murdered him because you hated him, you would have to die. You would have to you went to the city of refuge. Somebody was on a horse or a mule going to get you. They brought you back. The law came and got you. The law, remember that. This helps you understand Paul. This helps you understand being in Sabbath service, reading the laws of God, the commandments of God, helps you understand what was being taught in the New Testament. Christians, because they don't read the Old Testament, they don't understand the New Testament. So they don't get what the Gentiles are. They don't get what's the city of refuge. They don't get turn the other cheek. They don't get Christ's message. They don't get the message coming from Paul. They don't get Timothy's message or the message in the so-called New Testament because they never read the Old Testament. Now you're starting to see week by week in these Sabbath services just what the New Testament came to teach us, what Christ came to teach us. Why was it important? Now you see when he said turn the other cheek, he was speaking to his people because he knew we had a problem with taking matters in our own hands. That's why there was a city of refuge. But the Bible says that if you murdered this cat because you hated your brother, the law would come and get you out. They would find you in the city of refuge. They would bring you back to the city, and you would be punished for your crimes. You would be found guilty, of course, and then you would be punished for your crimes. Now you see why Moses had to flee when he murdered that Egyptian, because murder is wrong. Okay, it's a sin against God. It is unlawful in our rules and our commandments and the rules and laws of God. It is not permissible. Self-defense is. Okay, manslaughter is an accidental murder, which means you murdered someone accidentally, which is why I gave the example in the Bible when you and your brother go out to hew wood and the axe slips out of your hand and then it slices them in the head and kills them. That's accidental. You didn't mean to do it. You didn't hate that brother. You hated to see him dead. You didn't mean to hurt him. You were allowed to go to the city of refuge for accidental death. Why? Because you didn't mean to. You didn't hate this cat. And hate is murdering this brother. You know how I know the white man hates us? Because he murders us and lynches us and rapes our women. I don't know you hate me if you don't have an action against me. The word hate and love are actions. That's why the Bible is saying hated his brother in his heart. You hate this cat because you killed him. That's why you killed him, because you hate him. That's why you murdered her, because you hate her. You aren't allowed to go to the city of refuge. You have to go to a court. You got to go to a council in front of the prophets of God, the men of God, and they're going to find you guilty, and then you're going to pay for what you've done. That is justice. And we will never be a people that could ever have high self-esteem if our oppressors don't ever get the justice if we don't get justice. If Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians don't get justice, by our oppressor being put in the same conditions that we are in, we will never have esteem, never have a healthy self-esteem. Our oppressors have to pay for what they've done in order for us to truly get justice. How else are we ever going to, our life, that would say that you're saying to your oppressor, my life means nothing if you never require justice from your oppressor. You're telling them it's okay when you murdered my foremothers and forefathers, when you raped them and destroyed them. It's okay that you put the Gadites on the reservations. If the white man doesn't receive justice, you're telling the oppressor and you're telling your people, I don't care about Black and Latino life. I don't care about Native Indian life. Justice must always be served, Doc. That's the way life is supposed to be. The problem with this life is we live under an unjust man. We live in a country that is unjust. And so we continue to be sinners and terrible people because the people who make up rules and laws in this country, the law in this country is unjust. The people who rule this place are unjust. So the people that they rule over will also be unjust. This is what God was trying to prevent. That's why he said, you cannot select your leader from another nation. He has to be a brother in your nation who's a man of God, because the Lord is wiser than us. He knows if you have an unjust man in charge, like Donald Trump or Barack Obama, the people will also be unjust. But if you have a righteous man in charge, like Joshua or Christ, the people will be righteous. Everyone understand? A fish rots from the head. You understand? Leadership, your leader must be righteous, and then the people will be as well. Does everyone understand? All right. Shalom to the sister checking in. All right. All right. That was it on that. All right. Let's go to the next 7. This is Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 13. La'ah, Dakawas, Yahanna, Al-Yuwa, Wabayrath, Dam, Anakwia, Mayasha'ala, Watawab, Lak, verse 14. La'ah, Dasayag, Gabawal, Ra'id, Ashar, Gabalwa, Ra'ash Nayam, Banakalathak, Ashar, Thanakal, Ba'aratiza, Ashar, Yahweh, Alahayak, Nathan, Lak, Larashath, verse 15. La'ah, Yakaram, Id, Achad, Ba'ayash, Lakal, Iwan, Walakal, Khata'ath, Bakal, Khata'ah, Ashar, Yakata'ah, Al, Payah, Shanya, Idayam, Awa, Al, Payah, Shalashah, Idayam, Yakaram, Debar, verse 16. Kaya, Yakaram, I, Kamas, Bayash, Lai Nawath, Bawa, Sarah, verse 17. Wa Madwa, Shanya, Ha'ai Nashim, Ashar, Laham, Haraya, Lapanya, Yahweh, Lapanya, Hakahanyam, Wahashapatyam, Ashar, Yahayawa, Bayamyam, Haham, verse 18. Wadarashwa, Hashapatyam, Hayata, Wahana, Id, Shakor, Ha'id, Shakwar, Aina, Ba'akiwa, verse 19. Wa'aishatham, Lawa, Ka'ashar, Zamam, La'aishawath, La'achiwa, Wabairath, Hara'ai, Salaki Harai, Makarabak. All right. All right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 13. Thine eyes shall not pity him, but thou shalt put away the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, that it may go well with thee. Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that the Most High thy power giveth thee to possess it. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity, or for any sin, in any sin that he sinneth. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, shall the matter be established. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Most High, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days, and the judges shall make diligent inquisition. And behold, if the witness be a false witness, and have testified falsely against his brother, then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you. You can't be a hypocrite in here. You can't lie on a brother or sister in here. You have to be honest, which isn't hard to do. You were taught this at 6 years old, to not tell a lie. Why is it so hard to just be honest? You know why? Because you hate your people. And when you have an alt and you hate your brother, you're going to want to lie on him. You have an alt and you hate your sister, you're going to want to lie on her. You should think about this, the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated. If you don't want someone to hurt you, don't try to intentionally hurt him. Don't try to intentionally hurt her. Because the Bible says that if you found to be a liar on this brother and you want something terrible to happen to him, that same thing is going to happen to you. Does everyone understand? Right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 20. All right. Wahanasha Aryam, Shemaiah, Wayara'awa, Wala'a, Yasapwa, La'ishawaf, Iwad, the Kadabar, Hara'ai, Hazaha, Bakarabak, verse 21. Wala'a, Thakawas, Ayanak, Napash, Banapash, Ayan, Ba'ayan, Shan, Bashan, Yad, Bayad, Ragal, Baragal. This is Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 1. Kayat, the Taza'a, Lama Malachama, Salakia, Malachama, La Malachama, Al, Ayabayak, Warayath, Sawas, Warakab, Ain, Rab, Mamak, La'ah, Thayara'ah, Maham, Kaya, Yahweh, Al-Hayat, Imak, Salakia, Imak, Hama Ilak, Ma'aratazah, Matazariah. This is verse 2. Wahaya, Kakara Bakam, Al, Hamalachama, Wanagash, Hakahan, Wadabar, Al, verse 3. Wa'amar, Alaham, Shemai, Yasha'ala, Atham, Korabyam, Hayawam, Lamalachama, Al, Ayabyakam, Al, Yarak, Lababakam, Al, Thayara'awa, Wa Al, Thakapazwa, Wa Al, Thayaratazawa, Mapanyaham, verse 4. Kaya Yahweh Alahayakam, Hahalak, Imakam, Lahalakam, Lakam, Aim, Ayabyakam, Lahawashya, Salakia, Lahawashai. All right, La Salakia. No, that's not right. Lahawashayai. All right, Afakam, verse 5. What a borrower. Hashatarium, all. Ha'aim, La'amar, Maya, Hayash, Ashar, Banat, Bayath, Khadash, Wala'ah, Kanakwa, Yalak, Wayashah, Labayathwa, Pan, Yamawath, Bamalakama, Wayash, Achar, Yachanakwa, Yachanaknawa. All right. All right. This is Deuteronomy. Let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 20. All right. And those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you. And thine eyes shall not pity, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. This is literally in the American judiciary system. This is in their judicial system. It's in their legal system. It's called retribution. Retribution is literally an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. It's justice. It's equality. Does everyone understand? This is Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 1. When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and seest horses and chariots and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them, for the Most High thy power is with thee, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be, when ye are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint, fear not, and do not tremble, neither be ye terrified because of them. For the Most High your power is he that goeth with you, to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. Verse 5. And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, What man is there that hath built a new house, and have not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. This is Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 6. Wamayah, Hayash, Ashar, Natai, Karam, Wala'ah, Kalalawa, Yalak, Wayashab, Labayathwa, Pum, Pan, Yamawath, Bamalakama, Wa'ayash, Achar, Yakalalnawa. Verse 7. Wamayah, Hayash, Ashar, Arash, Ashah, Wala'ah, Walaquak, Yalak, Wayashab, Labayathwa, Pan, Yamawath, Bamalakama, Wa'ayash, Achar, Yaquakna. This is verse 8. Wayasapwa, Hashatarium. So like Hashatarium, Ladabar, Al, Ha'ain, Wa'amara, Maya, Hayash, Hayara'ah, Waradah, Alabab, Yalak, Wayashab, Labayathwa, Wala'ah, Yamam, Ath, Labab, Achayawa, Kalababwa. Verse 9. Wahaya, Kakalath, Hashatarium, Ladabar, Al, Ha'ain, Wapaquadwa, Shaya, Tazabawath, Bara'ash, Ha'ain. Verse 10. Kaya, Dakara, Al, Ayar, Lahalacham, Al-Ya, Wakara'ath, Allah, Salaki, Al-Ya, Shalom, La Shalom. Verse 11. Wahaya, Shalom, Thainak, Wapathaka, La, Wahaya, Call, Ha'ain, Hanamatazah, Ba, Yahayo, La, Lama, Lamas, Why Badawan. Verse 12. Wa'am, La'ah, Dashalam, Salaki, Dashalayam. Excuse me. Imak, Wa'ai-Shatha, Imak, Malachama, Watazarah, Oh, yeah. Shalom, sis. Yahweh Shema Tabashim Shah. All right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 6. And what man is he that hath planted a vineyard and have not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return into his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it. And what man is there that hath betrothed a wife and have not taken her? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, what man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart. And it shall be, when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people. When thou comest nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. And it shall be, if it make thee answer of peace and open unto thee, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto thee, and they shall serve thee. Excuse me. Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 12. And if it will make no peace with thee, but will make war against thee, then thou shalt besiege it. All right. All right. With that, imagine. Imagine means to stand, just me up here. All right. La Yashala to Israel. Imagine everyone stand. Wapanya Kwadam, which means to rise and face the east. All right. We're going to start with the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemaya, Kodash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwivka, Taba'a, Ratazak, Haya, I.S.U.P.K, Baratazak, Kawa, Haya, Bashemaya, Nathanawa, Lacham, Kal, Yawam, Wasalachanawa, Kabawatnawa, Kasalachnawa, Kabawatinawa, Wala'a, Tabaya'a, Nawa, Banasay one, Nabal, Hawashai, Nawa, Mayan, Rad, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwath, Waha'ala, Wathaparath, Lawayam, La'Iwalamyam, Iman. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. That will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever, so be it. Hakak, the power. Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Babukusha, the thunder now. Hakak, Hakak, La Pa'a, Kal Makala, or Kal Marawa, Hakak, La Tahar, Hamatazarayim, Hakak, La Hakim, Hamathim, Hakak. Our Kawat and Sama'ala, the Garashan, by Shim Yahushai, the water Amun. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out in the name of Yahushai. Thank you, so be it. The prayer to bless Israel. Yahweh, by Shim Yahushai, Barak Lanawa, Wayasha'ala, Wahab, Wayatsapar, Barak, Rapah, Magun, by Shim Yahushai, the water Amun. What we just said was Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai. Bless us and Israel in the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones. In the name of Yahushai, thank you, so be it. Psalms 121. Asha'a, Ayanya, Ahahari, Ma'ayan, Yaba'a, Isaiah, Ma'ayin, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa'aratiza, Al Yathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al Yanawam, Shemarka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Mala'a, Yayashan, Shamamar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shemarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al Yah, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Hashemash, La'a, Yakarka, Wayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashmarka, Makal Ra, Yashmar, Afna Pashka, Yahweh, Yashmar, Taza Afka, Wawa'aka, Ma'akfa, Wa'ai, Awulam, Aman. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. So be it. Psalms 83. Alahai, all the Mayalaka, all the Harash, wa all the Shaquat, all the Yahanna, our Yabika, Yahanna Yawan, wa Mashanaka, Nasha Awa, Ra'ash, Alamaka, Yara Yamu, Sawad, Way Thea Itazawa, Altazakuanika, Amarawa, Lakawa, Wanakakidam, Magoya, Wala Yazakar, Sham Yasha Iwad, Kaya, Nawa Itazawa, La, Yakhadwa, Alyaka, Baryak, Yakarafu, Ahalia, Adawam, Why Shema Ali, Mawa'aba, Wahagari, Gabal, Wa'aimawan, Wa'amala, Palashat, I'm Yashab, Yatazawar, Gam Ashur, Nalawa, Imam, Hayawa, Zarawad, Labanyalawat, Salah, Aisha, Laham, Kamakin, Kasaya, Sara'a, Kayabyan, Banakal, Koyashwan, Nashamadwa, Ba'ayanda, Iowa, Daman, Adama, Shea Thumwa, Nadayamawa, Ka'ira, because Abba, because Abba, because Zalmana, Kalnasea Kamwa, Shah, Amara, Ne Rashad, Lanawa, Af, Nawaf, Alahaya, Shea Thumwa, Kagawala, Kakwash, Lapanyaraka, Ka'ach, the Ba'ira Yaira, Wakalahab, Dalahat, Harm, Salaki, Hayam, Khan, the Radakma, the Sa'iraka, Wabaso Apatha, the Bahalam, Mala'a, Panyam, Kwalawan, Waya Bakwashwa, Shemkai, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Salaki, Waya Bahawa, Ayai, Waya Kaparwa, Waya Padwa, Waya the Iwa, Kaya, Tha, Shemkai, Yahawa, the Badka, Al, Yuan, Al, Call, Ha'aratiza, Amon. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asa also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zeb, yea, all their princes as Zabah and as the Munah, who said, Let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burnt the wood, and as the flame set the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. So be it. The prayer for the blessings of the power structure. Barakatha Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shah, Wa Mayaka Allah, Wa Allah Hayat, Matazabi, Allah Wap Yahanna, Ha Allah Wap, Ha Saranyam, Ha Kwatazayanya, Ha Hayayawim, Muha Kwafian, Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah, the Wadaman. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shah, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General Yahanna, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shah, thank you, so be it. Sar, which means to turn. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Abad Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shah, Barakatham, Yajimatah, Sar, face the sisters. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Abad Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shemar, Alathan, Bashim, Yahweh Shah, Yajimatah, dismissed.